I actually, I had the Yankees, but I thought there was a place for that. The problem right now is that very few teams are trying to compete with them. When the Yankees are outspending other guys, you were mad because, I don't have a direct example of the Yankees, but like when Greg Maddux left the Cubs for the Braves, it was over $0.1 million, right? It was
wow.
It was like they offered 5.25, we offered 5.15.
Wow.
And he chose the Braves over it. And it's like we were bidding and they were there. So like when the Yankees became the evil guys, it was because you wanted to keep your guy. You're a Padre fan, wanted to keep Dave Winfield or whatever, right? And they just outbid him by a little bit, and he went to the Yankees. So you felt like you could have had the guy. Now it's like they're bidding against nobody. They gave DJ LeMahieu a lot of money. They probably didn't have to give him that much money.
I think they did.
No, because they're bidding against nobody.
Well, because he's only DJ LeMahieu, the version that we come to know in Yankee Stadium.
That's what I'm saying.
He's not that player anywhere else.
So
I don't know. He's still going to be great for them. I mean, we talked about second base last week, but he's still going to be great for them. So
he'll come up more and more. Speaking of re-signings, I'll run off the re-signings since we last talked. A lot of them. Let's start.
Kipnis.
We'll start. Yeah, no, I don't care. I purposely exclude people.
Go ahead.
The three re-signings were Cubs re-signed Jake Arrieta. That's not really re-signing. Mariners re-signed James Paxton. There were two re-signings. Justin Turner went to the Dodgers. Nelson Cruz re-signed with the Twins.
Do you think that Paxton can have a revival, so to speak, in Seattle?
I don't see what he did wrong.
We've just seen so many
not play.
We've just seen so many
poorly. He just didn't play because he was hurt.
He's always hurt.
Well,
and I said that going into when he was signed. Everyone was all about it when he was in the Yankees. Oh, I'm going to just draft Paxton. I'm like, fine, he's going to be fucking hurt half the season. But
I think Paxton's when we get to the pitchers a little later. I mean, definitely he's one of those guys that he certainly is worth more than where he's being drafted. Unless I'm really off on where he's being drafted, but when you're starting to talk a guy you draft in the 20th round who has the upside that Paxton has, why not do it? Do I believe in it? Do I believe in him over a bunch of other players? Maybe not, but I believe in him over some. And I'd much rather take him than a guy that's drafted in the same spot where I sort of know who he is. The Mike Leakes and the Rick Porcellos of the world.
James Paxton's ADP is 256.
Yeah. Well, how can that not be a...
He's the 98th ranked pitcher. Being drafted around guys like Ryan Yarbrough, Nate Pearson.
Who's 10 ahead of him? Who's 88?
88 is Shohei Ohtani.
I kind of like Ohtani as a pitcher.
I do too. I think Eduardo Rodriguez.
No, I've always been.
You got Zach Davies, Nathan Eovaldi. You got those guys around him. Yeah. So
no, I mean, I see why those guys are ahead, but I don't see them as being that much better.
I would take a shot on Paxton that late in the draft. To be honest with you,
I think Ohtani is a head case. I think Ohtani doesn't know what he wants to do, but I think that if he's ever going to be the star that we think he is, it'll be with Joe Madden as his manager, and we'll see at least the germ of that this year. Otherwise, he'll never be much of anything except for a guy that we sort of like once in a while. He'll be Yasiel Puig. Which isn't horrible.
No.
But I thought
is he going to get signed this year? Is he going to play Major League Baseball this year? Like, what? Why does Puig not have a job? I still don't understand that one.
I think because he sat during the anthem. Well, that's a different sport. Puig.
No, I'm being serious.
I don't know.
He's a free agent, and he was supposed to rumored to sign with the Braves last year, and then he got the COVID thing. And I get it why they didn't make that happen. The season was so short, blah blah blah. But it's just irritating to me that we're coming up on spring training, fucking starting tomorrow or today, or when it's supposed to be starting soon, right?
Well, pitchers and catchers report today, right?
Yeah, I thought so. I thought it was getting really close. So. It just doesn't make sense to me. I don't know. I have a real issue with it. I have a real issue with Major League Baseball not setting a fucking specific time to do their free agency like the NFL does. Like the NFL, you can set your clock by it. We know a month when the season ends, free agency opens up, and there's just freaking mass chaos. It's front page news on SportsCenter and all that shit.
They never had to because they always just did it. But
I get it.
But the last 5-6 years, the owners have been more about maximizing profit than about making the
So
big splash.
it's so irritating. It really fucking is, dude.
Yeah, I mean, there's only X number of teams that are actually trying to win.
I guess, dude. Ugh.
Minor signings. Red Sox signed Marwin Gonzalez. Padres signed Mark Melanson.
I like. Do you think he's going to be the closer out there? They're putting together a nice little bullpen. They signed somebody else today too. I was just looking at that.
I don't have today's down. The Rays signed.
They signed Keone Kayla, former closer for the Pirates. I mean, they're putting together a nice little pin.
I thought they were going to re-sign Rosenthal and he's going to be the closer, but of those guys, I think Kayla's the closer.
The Mets are currently rumored to be signing him. That's what, according to what I'm reading right now.
I think Pomeranz is better as a setup guy.
I like Pomeranz.
I think Melanson re-salvaged his career a little bit last year with a really good outing with the Braves, but
he did.
I don't really trust him 100%. If I were the Padres, Kayla would be my closer.
I feel like they got a lot of insurance. They got a lot of options. They could run a committee. I mean, if they wanted to, they could run a super pen for God's sake. I mean, those high leverage teams. I mean, I feel like that's a huge weapon that they're gathering right now. The Yankees have proved that a couple of years, and I feel like it's one of those things where in the playoffs, man, bullpens play so well. The Giants were, man, I don't know if people realize how great the Giants bullpen was through their 3 World Series runs. I mean, they had guys like Romo in their prime, Brian Wilson, Jonathan Sanchez.
The guy that always was money in the bank.
Javier Lopez.
Craig Leffert.
God, there were so many great guys in that Giants bullpen during that run. But that's what I think the smart GMs are understanding. You got to have those deep bullpens. I mean, especially in the era that we're in, where starters are going 5 innings. And apparently, the rumor on the street is that Tampa Bay is going to revolutionize baseball again with the usage of their pitching staff this year. So, I find that all to be interesting in terms of
the next name on there is Rays signed Rich Hill and Chris Archer.
Yeah. I find it interesting that they re-signed Archer. Like, did they see something they could correct? Like, I don't know. Like, it's very interesting to me.
I mean, Chris Archer was 3-4 years ago one of the best pitchers in the game.
He was, and he fell off a fucking cliff. I don't understand what happened to him.
He was he was one of those guys like Tyson Ross. He had one really, really good pitch that he leaned on really heavily.
Okay,
I can't remember what it was, and either that he lost the touch for it or whatever. And if you're that kind of pitcher, you just appear quickly. But it also is something you should be able to correct. But wasn't the Pirates the team that had like the guru of pitching coaches? What's his name?
Seager? Fuck! I forget his goddamn name.
Just really crap out as like a.
Well, Ray Searage was his name. Yes, he was like supposedly the big pitching guru for a long time. But his philosophy was throw 2-seam fastballs and work both sides of the plate. They really pitched a certain usage of the pitch and the pitch because Tyler Glasnow talked about it when he left and went to Tampa Bay about how they were really adamant that he pitched a certain way. And Garrett Cole even talked about it too when he went to Houston. And then Cole, they basically looked at the analytics and said, okay, we realize you have an outstanding spin rate. We're going to use these pitches, and here's how you're going to use them more effectively. And they fucking changed who Garrett Cole was. But the Ray Series has that old school approach to pitching that I believe has become obsolete. Just because the amount of players that have been proven to be successful once they've left that system. I don't know. I think we might see the same effect with Jamison Taillon this year.
People were really good inside. Taillon's actually fine with them. Just he's also been one of those guys that never stays healthy.
Yes.
The Mets signed Albert Almora. The Rangers signed Mike Fultonevich. Philly signed Didi Gregorius. Blue Jays signed.
You said Fultonevich signed with the Rangers?
Yeah.
He had like that one good year and then just nothing. It's interesting because he was always super wild when he was coming up with the Astros, and then he like struck gold. I felt like for like a year and some change, and then in Atlanta, and then just lost it all of a sudden, just as quick as it came. I'll never understand that.
Tigers signed Nomar Mazara. The Gregorius and Mazara are the two ones that are the most interesting to me. Mazara is still like 24, right? Isn't he some?
He was supposed to be big shit for a long time. I don't ever know what happened to him.
No,
Same thing.
I think he hasn't matured yet. Nomar Mazara.
He's still young. He's been in the majors since he was 19, 20? I figure like he's been around forever.
He turns 26 on April 26th.
And how many years of big league experience does he have?
Yeah, I think it's like 5, isn't it? Because he's a complete free agent.
That's just crazy, dude.
He's Last year was his fifth year. He played. I don't think that the life's over with that, and just like I said about the Rockies being a spot where there might be some niceness from players that aren't that great.
Yeah, 5 years of experience.
I kind of like the Tigers. They're gonna throw some guys out there and just let them play, and maybe they're probably good enough to get you some points, to do some good. Like Mazzara's
going to hit. I think he's going to hit 20 homers
as your fifth outfielder. You could do worse. Who's the other guy? They signed somebody else that I liked. Well, it's not the other guy. It's not the guy that I want to talk about. They signed Akil Baddoo in the Rule 5, who is the most athletic guy in the Rule 5 draft. And so they can't trade him, so he's going to do. They can't send him down. He's going to do something, but he's not the guy I'm thinking of. Oh, Robbie Grossman. That's the guy. I think Robbie Grossman's a decent player, and I think he'll just be a chance to play in Detroit and be fine. Though Detroit does suppress home runs, I understand.
Can we talk about my favorite story of the week that I don't know why we didn't lead the whole freaking show off with this, that I'm so excited to even talk about? Bartolo Colon signed a 1-year deal with the Mexican League, and apparently he's trying to get back into the show. And nothing makes me happier. He's 47 years old. He looks like a pro bowler, and he hits home runs. I freaking love Bartolo Colon.
I thought your biggest story was I read that the Mets under their new ownership with Steve Cohen, they invited Tim Tebow to spring training. That'd be the big
God, do you really think he's got ever shot to make the Bay baseball? I mean, when Brody Van Wagenen was there last year, his actual former agent, I thought he had a really good shot to make it then. But when he was ousted from town, I'm a little less optimistic at this point.
He's incredibly valuable as long as there's a minor leagues. Whenever
he draws a crowd.
He draws a real crowd.
Yeah.
So I understand why the Mets keep him around and keep him happy, and probably even pay him more than the average minor league player does.
Sure.
But maybe there's not a spot in the majors for him, especially if you're in a team that's competitive.
I just don't see it.
Are competitive. Whereas, like if he was, a Marlin, I could see him coming up with the Marlins.
Really?
Well, it's Florida. They love him here.
That's an interesting thought.
What?
That's an interesting thought.
Yeah. It's the nature of who they are.
Yeah, I guess so.
So anyway, that's I'll read these other ones off. These are the really the real minor things. The Braves re-signed Travis Demeritte off waivers. Minor league contracts. The Rangers signed international free agent Yang. This is a weird one because he couldn't get a full contract, but he came over on a minor league contract. Yang Hyung Jong, who as recently as 2017, he won the Japanese version of, or was it the Korean version of? Is Yang? Is he Korean or Japanese?
I don't know.
Korean. Yang Hyung Jong. Well, anyway, he's a pretty decent player, but he wasn't able. No one was going to sign him under the normal thing, so he just moved to America and signed a minor league contract, which is weird. And I've never heard that happening before. He's a little bit older. He's like 33, but decent pitcher. Astros minor league contract to Steve Cishek. The A's won to Jeff Lowry. The Tigers Renato Nunez and Greg Garcia. The Rockies Greg Bird. Diamondbacks Chris Davinsky. Angels Phil Gosselin, Juan Lagares. Pirates Tony Walters, Brian Goodwin. White Sox Jonathan LaCroix. Tim Beckham. Indians Ben Gamel. Blue Jays Joe Panic. Cubs Shelby Miller. And the Rangers Brock Holt.
Who signed Tim Beckham?
Tim Beckham is the White Sox.
Oh, I was like, he already signed with the White. What am I talking about? I was like, I didn't think he moved. They just must have given him arbitration or what?
No, these are all minor league contracts. They were.
Oh, he signed. Okay, I get it. Okay,
these are all just minor league contracts. But some of these names, like Chris Davinsky, he was a big thing at one point. Shelby Miller was a big thing at one point.
He was for the Cards. Yeah, he was hot shit.
Jed Lowry was a big thing at one point.
Yeah, Jed Lowry was signed back with the A's. I mean, it's going to be interesting. They got absolutely fucking nobody else. He'll probably get 500 at bats on that team. God damn it.
The A's, really?
Yes, they do. They let freaking when they let Marcus Semien go there, they freed up the fucking middle infield.
Well,
And they got Elvis Andrus, but
you got Andrews. Don't they have a couple of like